Earth is ringing like a bell after today's large magnitude 7.5 earthquake that we've had in Papua New Guinea. We've had seismic swarms there for weeks before that, and pre-quakes before that, and also, of course, aftershocks, pretty big, about 5 Richter, 5 magnitude. And we have, of course, events that are happening because if the whole thing is shaking, it's dislodged quite a lot of the area, which is a subduction zone, as we know. And when we look at the heliplots of stations around the world, we see that they're all blacked out because of the shaking. Even Hawaii is blacked out, but Hawaii has been quite active lately, and it seems like it's coming out of a pause phase because of the deformation and the tremendous amount of earthquakes that they have. But that's a different story, Hawaii. It's a hot spot in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Papua New Guinea is on the subduction plate at the edge of the Pacific plate, and they were expecting a huge earthquake there, as they are expecting a huge earthquake also in New Zealand, meaning around a 9 magnitude Richter. They've prepared by announcing this to the population, the local population, to be ready for a big earthquake. Now what happens is when earthquakes are that big, they dislodge the area and there could be shaking there, but it also rings around the earth. As we can see from the heliplots, they're moving. Yesterday and they're still moving. They're still moving. We may not be feeling it, but the earth and the monitors record it. Now, we remember that even last year we had November 11th, a shaking that went all around the world, and it lasted for 20 minutes. The geologists didn't know why it took so long, what caused all this. That's not good, because when you have the world, the whole globe shaking that long, of course things are going to give. You can imagine having a box in your hands and you keep shaking it. Of course, after 20 minutes of shaking, it's not going to be the same box anymore. So according to Science Daily, for example, they tried to explain this to us. And geologists, they may have found the source of this quake last year, the unexplained massive earthquake. The last November quake, November 11, was a huge seismic event. It shook the planet and left experts wondering about the source of the shaking. Researchers now think they may know what caused it: an offshore volcanic event, unlike any other that was recorded in history. So if their theory is right, and there has been a massive movement of magma underneath the seafloor, that has implications for nearby east coast of Africa in Mayotte, the neighboring Comoros Islands off the east coast of Africa. Mayotte has already started to sink. As we know, that's the area of the Great Rift Plain in East Africa. Basically, the Nile River that we know begins from the mountains and then heads all the way north towards the Mediterranean Sea, is actually running through a fault. And that is the fault that splits up Africa, the east of Africa from the rest of Africa, the Great Rift Valley, the Great Rift Valley. And at one point in time, that whole area is going to be split off, making a new island east of the continent of Africa. And of course, that would be the end of the Nile River. What would happen to the Nile River? It wouldn't be flowing there anymore because that thing would be separated and split off the continent of Africa. But so that's what happened. They say it was a volcano underneath the movement of the magma underneath the seafloor at that area. Now, Mayotte has already started to sink around 1/3 of an inch every single month, and move eastward at around it says here, Mayo sinks every month, 1/3 of an inch every month, moving eastward at over half an inch per month, 0.63 inches per month. So at the same time it's sinking, it's also moving east, movements that would tally with an underground chamber getting deflated, yes, as magma flows out. The magma is flowing out. We believe, they say, that in 2018, the crisis is associated to an eruption, despite the fact that we do not have direct observation so far of such an eruption. It might be the offshore eruption with the largest volume ever documented. Can you imagine that? We don't know what's going on underneath the seas. Now, based on the seismic readings taken in the area over 6 months leading up to the November tremor that was spread across the whole world, that lasted 20 minutes, the team believes that more than a cubic kilometer, that's 0.24 cubic miles of magma, has been shifted from an eruption point about 17.5 miles below the surface. The thinking is that all this magma may not have reached the seafloor, but instead flowed into the surrounding sediment, with volcanic gas remaining trapped inside the magma. So that would explain why nothing has been observed yet above the surface. The 2018 event, this ringing like a bell for 20 minutes at Mayo, does appear to show a substantial amount of magma leaving a deep storage region, which, if it had erupted, would make this indeed one of the largest recent submarine eruptions ever documented. This is geologist Samuel Mitchell from the University of Hawaii at Manoa, who was not involved in this study, told Gizmodo. I'm reading this from Bended Reality, but it's from Science Daily. So as these earthquakes continue, scientists are scrambling to get more monitors, more instruments and equipment to the area, because they want to get a better idea of what is actually going on. For the time being, the idea of a major volcanic event fits the existing data very well. There are still lots of unanswered questions, though, like why is this happening at the eastern end of the Comoros island chain, when the newer volcanic islands in the area are to the west? So if the magma remains trapped underground, why are schools of dead fish appearing in the water? Well, that we would know, because we've seen that from before. It could be the gas emissions that cause the sea deaths, the fish dying, the gas emissions. Also, what caused the high-frequency pulses that occurred alongside the low-frequency tremor in November? Waves of magma crashing each other as a chamber collapsed would be one explanation, but until more data from the area becomes available, this is only a speculation. Now, experts are also concerned over what's causing the volcanic activity in the first place. Seismologist Stephen Hicks from the University of Southampton in the UK, who was not involved in the study, told Gizmodo that tectonic plate movements, a region of superheated mantle, or the ongoing East African rift event could possibly be the resulting in this. And the new research paper has not yet been peer-reviewed. Authors behind it say other scenarios are still possible, but volcanic activity seems to fit what we know so far. What's clear is that we need a lot more investigation of the events, they say, even though scientists think they've now got a promising hypothesis. If more earthquakes do take place, people living on Mayotte, already worried by what's going on around them, need to be well prepared. Improving the knowledge of the disturbance, alignment, and ages of the offshore volcanic features, especially around the main islands, may lead to a better understanding of the behavior evolution and the related hazard of this area. So here we are on Google Earth. This is Australia, as we see. This is the Pacific Ocean here to the east. And this is Papua New Guinea. This is where Terrell Blackstar, if you'll see the videos before this one, had predicted that this would be the time frame of the 7.5 magnitude hitting Papua New Guinea specifically, because he was referring to the black star in our solar system that's around Jupiter. He's also analyzing the planetary alignment and the geomagnetic forces having to do with Earth, and he analyzes and calculates when where and how big the earthquakes will be, depending on their past events and depending on the force of the corridors of the magma plume in the Earth. And he predicted that the 7.5 magnitude Richter would be around in the window between May 5th and May 15th. And on Monday, May 6th, we even had a 7.2 earthquake, which was pretty deep. And he said, well, maybe that's a big one. If it was more shallow, it would be much bigger anyway. Well, okay, he thought that was a big one, but the big one, that was just a foreshock of this big one of 7.5. So he was right. He hit the nail on the head, exactly the time frame of the big earthquake. Now, I just hope there's not a bigger one coming, because this area has had 8.1, 8.2. So I hope that that's the end of it and it's not going to be another big one coming. Also, this is the area of New Zealand that we saw, the North Island, where they expect magnitude 9 to hit, and they've prepared the people for that, announcing it continuously. If we go to Seismo Berkeley, we also see that we have a lot of activity in Hawaii. And I'm showing you that because I want to show you the heliplots of Hawaii, how blacked out they are. For example, this is Hawaii. Just now, May 15th, it's turned May 15th, UTC meaning England. And you can see how blacked out it is. It probably has to do with the big earthquake that we had in Papua New Guinea. The whole area is rocking. Everything. This is on USGS, the heliplots. Data updated every 30 minutes. And we start with Antigua, Barbados, and then Panama, Grenada, and going down to Cuba, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, going to China. We see even China is rocking. China again, Samoa, and Russia, and Antarctica. Missouri, USA, Thailand, Alaska, Oregon, they're all black with, well, this one looks more normal. Tuvalu, Armenia, even Ethiopia and Armenia are jumping. Even Germany. And so on. You can see they're all blacked out. Kenya, Zambia, Japan, Western Australia. So you can understand that they're all blacked out. Means they're all using, they're all recording this ringing worldwide. So, Earth rang like a bell. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.